Good morning, Monday, January 30th, 2023. Baseball matchups, pitching. This book I wrote, I'm analyzing baseball players and baseball pitchers, matching them up, guys who are similar in careers. Today I've got Don Sutton, played 23 years, and Tom Seaver, who pitched for 20 years. Why do I do these two? Because they're similar as far as wins, innings, strikeouts. How about this? Don Sutton, 324 wins. Tom Seaver, 311. A difference of what? 13. Innings pitched. Don Sutton, 5,282. Tom Seaver, 4,783. So that's a difference of about 500 innings more for Don Sutton. Strikeouts. Don Sutton, 3,574. Tom Seaver, 3,640. Very close, right? That's about 100 difference. Complete games. Sutton, 178. Seaver, 231. So Seaver wins there. Games started. Sutton, 756. Much more. Because Seaver had 647. That's a difference of 100. So Seaver has more complete games, where Sutton has more games started. Games started in the season, both the same, about Sutton 40, Seaver 36. Shutouts, it's interesting. Sutton 58, Seaver 61. Very close, see? Shutouts in a season, Sutton had 9, that was his best. Seaver 7 was his best. ERA. Sutton's higher, 3.26. Seaver 2.86. Wins in a season. The most for Seaver was 25. The most for Sutton, 21. Innings in a season. Both the same. Sutton, 293 was his most. Seaver, 290. Strikeouts. Seaver is more dominant. 289 strikeouts in one season was his high. Sutton, 220. ERA for the season. Best for Sutton was for Sutton, 2.20 is best. And Seaver, 1.76. And saves, doesn't matter. Sutton had 5 career. Seaver only 1. All right. Here's the question. Who's better, Tom Seaver or Don Sutton? Sutton had more wins, 324. Seaver, 311. But let's look. How many games did Tom Seaver lose? 205. His career record, 311, 205. Sutton, 324, but he loses 256. So Seaver didn't lose as much. He lost a lot, but not as much as Sutton. Sutton lost 50 more games than Tom Seaver. How about innings? Well, I already did that. Let's see. Strikeouts. Seaver has the edge by about 100. 3,640. Sutton, 3,574. The ERA career, I always look at that. Seaver, 2.86, where Sutton is higher, 3.26. So Seaver has the edge in strikeouts and ERA. Also, most wins in a season, Seaver had 25 one year. Let's look at Seaver. How many 20-win seasons did he have? One. Let's see. Tom Seaver. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seasons of over 20 wins. Don Sutton, just 1 21 season. 1976, 21 and 10. All right, here's a stat I think we can look at. All right, the winning percentage. Seaver 603, where Sutton 559. Seaver has the edge. But let's get deeper. Let's ask this question. How many hits did Seaver give up? He pitched 20 years. How many hits? 3,971. Does Sutton have more or less? Because Sutton pitched 23 years. Sutton gave up more, 4,692. So that's a difference of about 700 more hits Sutton gave up. But he pitched 3 more years. But the game started is what you want to look at. Seaver 647, where Sutton 756. So Sutton pitched 100 more games and gave up 600 more hits. Is that right? Seaver, 3,971 hits. Sutton, 4,690. Okay, so 700 hits. But he pitched 100 more games, or started 100 more games. 5 hits a game. Let's say he gives up 5 or 6 hits a game. That's an extra 500 hits. So if Seaver pitched another 100 games to match the same number of starts as Sutton, he'd be close to how many hits he gave up. So they're close. Because you got to figure Seaver would have gave up 500 more hits in 100 more games. Is that fair? I think so. So even though 700 more hits Sutton gave up, he started 100 more games. Following that? All right, let's look at another stat. Walks. Who has more walks? Tom Seaver gave up 1,390 walks. How about Sutton? $1,343. Tom Seaver, 1,390 walks. Don Sutton, 1,343. Sutton pitches 100 more games, yet has less walks than Seaver. How about that? Better control? Here's another stat, home runs. How many home runs did Tom Seaver give up? 380. How about Sutton? 472, but he pitches 100 more games. A home run per game? It's about a difference of 100, right? So they're about evenly matched in the home runs given up. 380 to 472 is a difference of about 80 or 90. Seaver pitches 100 more games. Does he give up another 90 home runs? Maybe, maybe not. And then another stat is hit by the pitch. How many batters did Tom Seaver hit? 76 in his career. Sutton, 82. So this is a pick'em. Sutton has more wins. Seaver has more strikeouts. Sutton has more innings. But Seaver has more shutouts. 61, Sutton had 58. Seaver had about 5 20-win seasons. Sutton only had 1. Seaver has a better winning percentage. He has more strikeouts in a season. He has a better ERA for his best ERA in a season. Who's greater, Tom Seaver or Don Sutton? So pick 'em. I'm going to have to go with Tom Seaver. Why? Because even though Don Sutton pitched 100 more games than Tom Seaver has more strikeouts. He has 3,640, whereas Don Sutton 3,574. If Seaver pitches 100 more games, and let's say maybe he averages 6, 7, 8 strikeouts a game, that's another 800 strikeouts, right? He would have ended up with 4,000 strikeouts if he pitches the same number of games as Don Sutton. And Sutton would have been 500 strikeouts short. That's why I'm going to go with Tom Seaver here. Also, he struck out 19 guys in one game. Did you know that? He had a 19 strikeout game, and he struck out 10 in a row, which was a record. How about that? 10 strikeouts in a row. The only thing on Tom Sutton or on Seaver that you can fault is the walks and the hits. Gave up too many hits, 3,971, and the walks 1,390. Sutton gave up a lot of walks too, but Sutton gave up a lot of hits, but he also gave up fewer walks. Is that right? 1,343 walks for Sutton. 1,390 for Seaver. That's the one thing on Seaver and Sutton. Sutton has the edge over Seaver in the walks given up. But in a lot of other categories, Seaver wins. And that's why I'm going with Tom Seaver. So how do you like that analysis? All right, I've been doing the pitching matchups. Cy Young versus Walter Johnson. I did Pete Alexander versus Christy Mathewson. I did Put Calvin versus Charlie Radburn. I did Kid Nichols versus Tim Keefe. I did Greg Maddux versus Steve Carlton. I did Nolan Ryan versus Randy Johnson. And I did Sandy Koufax versus Bob Gibson. I've got a few more I want to do here. You've got a guy named Warren Spahn who won 363 games. I'm going to match him up with Eddie Plank. Why? Because Eddie Plank won 326. I like these guys who won 300 games. Let's look at both of their careers and match them up. And then I've got Phil Niekro versus Gaylord Perry. And then I want to do John Smoltz versus Tom Glavine. So stay tuned for those videos. And then there'll be one more I'll do. I'll do a John Clarkson, which is way old school, versus Mickey Welsh. He was way old school too, like the 1880s and 90s. So I'll do those guys last. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm out.